All right, video 2 for lesson 1-2 on solving equations. Example 2 here says solve each equation and check your answer. So you're going to see now in these examples we're going to introduce parentheses, and parentheses mean that we need to distribute first. So on the right hand side of this equation I do see parentheses, so the first step here is going to be distribution. Okay, now remember, distribution is when you have something on the outside and you have multiple things on the inside, and you're going to distribute that number on the outside to each of the inside things. Remember, this means multiplication. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. So we have the distribution on the right hand side. So we're going to distribute this -4, right? It's a -4 to the 2r and to the -5. So over here to the right, I'm going to show you what we're actually doing. We're actually taking -4 and multiplying it by 2r, and we're taking -4 and multiplying it by -5. These are the two distributions or two multiplications we're doing, right? So -4 times 2 is -8, and the r comes along. -4 times -5 is a +20. So the 92 stays the same on the left, but on the right-hand side, it becomes a -8r and a +20. Notice I put the plus sign. Okay. So on the left-hand side, there's just a single term, just that number. On the right-hand side, there's a variable term, the r, and then there's the number. So there are no like terms. So we're not going to do any combining like terms. So no combining like terms. So now we're going to start moving across the equal sign. Now my r is on the right. So again, my answer is going to say some number equals r. So the first thing I'll do is I'll do an addition or a subtraction. And then the second thing I'll do is a multiplication or a division. So this +20 I'm going to get rid of. It's adding, so we're going to subtract it on both sides. 92 minus 20 is 72. Bring down the -8r. The 20s cancel. And now we'll do our division. This -8 is multiplying with r, so we're going to divide by -8. Remember, we have to divide by the negative as well. 72 divided by -8 is -9. The -8's cancel, and there's your value of r. And -9 equals r. Let's check our answer real fast, and I don't have a lot of room, but I'll do it right here. So remember, to check, you're going to take that -9 and plug it in for r, so our equation will say 92 equals -4, parentheses 2, parentheses -9, close parentheses -5, and close the big parentheses. So we're just going to really simplify the right-hand side. So I'm going to do 2 times -9, that's -18. So -4 times -18 minus 5. Then I'm going to combine -18 and -5, so we get -4 times, and that's -23 inside. And then when you multiply -4 and -23, you do get +92. And 92 equals 92, and we know that -9 is the correct answer. Okay, next here, same kind of deal, right? So I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. I see those parentheses, so the first step I'm going to do here is distribution, right? So I'm going to take this 10, and I'm going to multiply it to the 5 and the -n. Notice I do not do it to the -1 because the -1's not inside the parentheses. So when I do my distribution, I'm doing 10 times 5 and 10 times -n. You can put a a 1 in front of that n if you want to, right? Because anytime a variable doesn't have a number in front, there's a 1 hidden there. In this case, it's a -1 because there's a minus sign in front. So 10 times 5 is 50. 10 times -1 is -10, and the variable n just comes along. So this left-hand side becomes 50 minus 10n, and then just rewrite the -1 and the 29. So now on this left-hand side, we do have like terms. So now we're going to combine our like terms on the left-hand side. It's going to be the 50 and the -1. Okay? So I'm going to bring down the -10n. And then 50 minus 1 is 49, +49. I like to keep the variable first. It doesn't matter, but I do. And then bring down the 29. Okay, and now because my n is on the left-hand side, my final answer is going to say n equals a number. So 2 steps here, we're going to add or subtract second, and then multiply or divide third. So I'm going to subtract this 49. It is positive. So I get negative 10n, the 49s cancel, and this becomes negative 20. And now I'm going to divide by negative 10n. Again, divide by the negative, and divide by negative 10, not negative 10n, divide by negative 10. The negative 10's cancel, and equals, and negative 20 divided by negative 10 is 2. Okay, one more like these here. So we have question C here. So we have to do the same exact thing. I see parentheses. So I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. Now notice here, right, there are parentheses, so we are going to distribute. But notice what's in front of the parentheses. There's just a negative symbol, right? This 7 is not directly next to the parentheses. So I want you to bring down that first 7. That 7 is not what we're going to distribute, right? We're going to distribute this negative sign. Now you can think of this as a negative 1 if you want to. But all that a negative sign does is changes the signs of the terms inside the parentheses. So this 7 is positive inside the parentheses, so it'll become negative. This negative 2x is negative inside, so it'll become positive. Right? And then bring down your negative 7 on the right. So that's all that's going to happen. Okay, so we got rid of the parentheses. So now we're going to combine our like terms. We can do that on the left-hand side. So there's only one x term, so bring down your 2x. But then there is this 7 here and this minus 7 here. Well, they actually cancel. It becomes 0, and you don't need to put 0. So this left side is just a 2x. This right side remains negative 7. So now x is on the left, so my final answer is going to say x equals some number. So I need to do an addition or a subtraction first, and then a multiplication or division. Well, because the 7's canceled, there's no number here next to the variable term, so we are not going to have to add or subtract. So we're going to straight divide by 2 to get the x all by itself. The 2's cancel, x is by itself. Now negative 7/2 is a simplified fraction. You can also divide and get the decimal. So your answer would be x equals negative 7/2, or if you put it in Desmos, the calculator, and get an answer, you'd be negative 3.5. Okay. Now, I'm introducing you into how Savvis works. Savvis is our online homework system, right? So again, when you have to answer the question, if you look in the blue writing, it tells you if it wants an integer, a fraction, or a decimal. So just make sure you pay attention to that. Okay, last but not least, example 3, we're going to solve this equation. Okay, so if you look here, I'm going to introduce you to what happens when you have a fraction in the problem, right? That 1/2 is a fraction. Oh no, it's okay, right? We're going to follow the same exact rules, but we're going to just do one little thing at the end when we try to get rid of that fraction. So here's my line. So I don't see any parentheses, so no distribution. I don't see any like terms on the left or right, so no combining like terms. So we're immediately going to start moving things across the equal sign. Now my x is on the left, so my final answer is going to say x equals some number. So to do that, I'm going to add or subtract first, and then multiply or divide second. So I see this plus 2 here. We're going to subtract 2 on both sides. Bring down the 1/2 x. The 2's cancel. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And now, this 1/2 is multiplying with the variable. So the opposite of multiplication is division. However, instead of dividing by a fraction, say a over b, whatever, we are going to do something called multiplying by the reciprocal. And the reciprocal of a fraction is where you take it and you flip it upside down. The numerator and denominator switch. So again, this is called a reciprocal. Reciprocal. Okay. So here, we would want to divide by 1/2. Well, we're not going to. We're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2 over 1. 2 over 1. And you do it to both sides. So now what happens on the left-hand side is the 2 on the top of this fraction cancels with the 2 on the bottom, and the same thing with the 1's. And now you have x all by itself. Now on the right-hand side, you can put this negative 1 over top of 1, and now you're just going to multiply straight across. So negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, 1 times 1 is 1. And then if this fraction simplifies, you should simplify it. Negative 2 over 1 is just negative 2. Our final answer is x equals negative 2. So in a problem involving fractions, especially if it's the coefficient of the variable, when you look to divide it, multiply by its reciprocal instead. Okay, so first section of videos done. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in class.